Well, all right. How about MVP candidate Baker Mayfield? What a game, what a season so far. Tampa Bay ended this game with multiple offensive line injuries, including playing their third string guard, missing their starting running back, and at the end of this game, they had their top four receivers all out, and yet still able to have a great offensive performance. Forget the win. The offense was continuing to move. So let's talk about how. And actually, we're going to start off with an Egbuka catch he was playing earlier in the game. So you see he's going to be working over the middle on this play. This one was an earlier one. There was actually two of these where Baker and Egbuka just kind of weren't on the same page, throwing a leader a little bit behind him or a little bit ahead of him, not being able to convert. So here, early on in the second, the Buccaneers trail by 3 points. Kind of want to get that going. Ultimately, Baker Mayfield here is going to connect with Egbuka. They're able to pick up a big completion. Again, those guys have had a great chemistry. Hopefully, the injury isn't too bad with Egbuka, and they're able to continue that whenever he gets back. But some really good stuff on that play by both of those two players. We can head over here as well. You know, I will say, one thing that is worth noting is, so both teams have a ton. I brought up all the Buccaneers injuries. The 49ers have a bunch of injuries as well. And of course, Fred Warner had the unfortunate injury early on in this game. And because of that, I do think that was a factor. Like on this play, I don't know if it's a factor on this specific one, but it's a man coverage concept. The Buccaneers are going to end up with 3 eligible receivers to the offense's right on this play. Watch what happens. Mayfield takes a snap. He looks in that direction, and Cameron Johnson, who is really the Buccaneers punt returner, who just kind of had to come in and play snaps due to how injured they are, the 49ers blow this coverage. No one's on him. So for Mayfield, this is one thing that is really impressive about Mayfield, though, is just how quickly he notices this type of thing. Watch how instantly he sees it. He's able to get it down there, which was important because there was a blitzing defensive back who was untouched that Mayfield didn't even see. Had Mayfield not gotten the ball down there quickly, maybe he gets hit and they're not able to make that play happen. So if you see it open, get it there quickly. Funny enough, the defensive back, got flagged for roughing the passer. Mayfield then started talking trash with him, as kind of is what Baker Mayfield does. That's the quintessential Baker Mayfield play at this point, is to throw a touchdown and then talk trash to the defensive player afterwards. But one thing I liked about Mayfield as well, that's going to go underlooked, but I just thought he did a good job of taking what was there, right? So like this play, it's a zone coverage concept. This was a little bit earlier in that drive. I just that capped off with the blown coverage touchdown. But watch what happens. Well, actually, let me set it up a little bit first. So it's zone coverage. There's multiple receivers running further down the field. Then you have a tight end who's going to kind of run a curl route that's going to be a little bit more underneath. So now watch what happens as Mayfield takes the snap. He looks right here, and down the field, could he try and make something work that way? Maybe. But hey, you got an open check down. And I think for Mayfield, one thing that he's really developed over the years is how to just take what the defense is giving him. It was a real issue in Cleveland. Everyone says Cleveland was so stupid for letting him go. And listen, it didn't work out, right? Clearly, in hindsight, not the right call. But I would also say part of it is Mayfield has become a better player since he's left Cleveland. And part of that was on these plays, he used to push the ball down the field. Well, now he takes the check down. They're able to get the first down. I mean, again, that's not great defense by San Francisco to let him give up basically an 11-yard check down. But still, it's part of, I think, what makes the Mayfield this iteration of Mayfield works so effectively. Also, we have to talk about this sequence. This was a huge sequence in this game. So the Buccaneers are currently just up a point. The 49ers have had field goal drives on each of their past 2 drives to make it a 1-point game, and now it's 3rd and 14. So if you don't get the conversion here, well, you have to give the ball back. All the momentum's in San Francisco's favor, all of that stuff. Watch as when Mayfield takes the snap, this is going to go from bad to worse. As I brought up a couple of those, backup offensive linemen. Now, one of this is actually on, starting left tackle Tristan Wirfs, but I think Wirfs was trying to push him behind the quarterback, hoping Mayfield can step up in the pocket. He can't do that. There's pressure right in his face. So, here's the first thing Mayfield's going to do. Watch him somehow get over. I don't know how he gets out of that, but he gets around those 2 defenders. He's going to try and scramble because there's nowhere to throw the football. He's, doing the pump fake past the line of scrimmage, which is always an underrated move by quarterbacks. It's hard when you're playing to really see exactly where the line of scrimmage is, so sometimes you can still fool guys. Here, you have a 49ers player coming up trying to make a tackle. Watch as Mayfield's going to sidestep him. And now number 0 for the 49ers. I think what sometimes happens when you have a quarterback in space is defensive players, they want the big hit, right? The quarterbacks are annoying when you're playing against them. They're always making things happen, especially Baker Mayfield, who's probably talking trash for half the game. You want the big hit, but you got to just make the tackle in a situation like this. Watching Mayfield kind of sidesteps him a little bit, even pulls the football out and gets the first down. You see like 4 or 5 different 49ers players put their hands on their heads after that. What are we doing here? Well, it's Baker Mayfield. He's been fantastic at this stuff. Commentators will say every week when he has a good run, oh wow, don't see that too often. You do. You see it a lot now. This is a real aspect of his game. He is up there with those other great scrambling quarterbacks, at least for this season. And then he had this play just a little bit later on. So again, this is top 4 receivers not out there. It's a zone coverage concept. You have multiple receivers running deep shots on either side of the field, but Mayfield's going to do a small thing here to help get this more open. Watch when he takes the snap. Watch where his eyes go. Watch how he is fully selling and even kind of pump faking a little bit, using his shoulders to make it seem as though he's throwing it towards the bottom of the screen. I've noticed him doing this a bit, where you see how he gets his shoulders square. He has no intention of throwing this ball to his right. He's just trying to get the safety to think he is. Because then when he looks towards his left, he fully gets the safety burned because of that. It's a great throw and great catch from Tej Johnson, the depth receiver, 7th round pick, who's making some plays because he has to. And also one other just kind of interesting thing I thought was late in the game. So Buccaneers are up 8 points. It's 2nd and 9. The 49ers are doing a good job at stopping the run. And Tampa Bay said, well, okay, let's just throw it then. And not just like these, short throws, but over the middle, which clearly, with Fred Warner out, that's an area you got to attack. If you're smart, you attack wherever the weak spot is of the defense. Here you see there's a tight end running a setup route. Then you have your receiver, Sterling Shepard, going more over the middle. Mayfield takes the snap. Setup route works. You have multiple players covering him. Again, if Fred Warner is there, is he either covering the right guy or telling people to cover the right guy? Perhaps. But this ends up being a perfect throw. Again, not the most difficult one of the night, but still a good throw. And Sterling Shepard, nice work after the catch as well. Ultimately, they're able to pick up a good amount of yards on that play. And again, it just goes to show the confidence this team has in Mayfield, even in a big spot where you're just trying to run out the clock. They let him throw out the clock, basically, because they trusted him to, not just make plays, but protect the football. That's the other aspect, is Mayfield's always been a volatile player. Even the first few weeks of the season, his interception totals were low, but he was still putting the ball in harm's way a decent amount. These past 2 weeks, I believe 0 turnover-worthy plays, which is impressive for someone like him to still be getting these positives and be cutting out the turnovers. So it's just great stuff from Baker Mayfield. That's what I think about all this. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.